2020, a year to remember or a year to forget? I know it's a little early for me to be criticizing the year, but let me start at the beginning. A lot of us, mostly the naive people who live in Western cultures, thought that 2020 would be the start of a new era. And it was, but not the way we intended it to be. What we got was a rerun of the Depression and the 1918 flu epidemic all rolled into one. To be precise, of course, the coronavirus. What do you think? Do you think this is Mother Nature's way of telling us to slow down? Or do you think the Chinese have done all this to create some type of biological weapon that could most likely lead to the start of a new world war? I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but frankly, my dad thinks this way as well. And if you ask me, I think that they are nothing but a bunch of villainous succubuses. Normally, I would think that, hey mom, normally I would think that the Chinese were very traditional and peaceful. But in modern times, they've gotten corrupt, all because of a corrupt government. And the government itself is no better than all the tyrannical emperors, maybe even Hirohito of Japan. But since he's a Japanese emperor, that's another story entirely. Anyway, do you think that the current government of China is any better than those tyrannical emperors? Like, give me an example of a tyrannical Chinese emperor, please. Actually, I've got one. Chiang Kai-shek. But let's stop talking about politics. Ask me this. What was the best thing you've ever had about 2020 despite the pandemic? You can answer me. I'm still waiting for an answer. My sister got engaged, and so did my cousin Michael. Have you ever had any engagements at all? Feel free to ask me in the comments section. I wish I had a bigger audience. Well, I believe that an audience should be respectful, should be treated fairly, should treat the creator fairly, if that's what you mean, if that's what I mean. I believe that 2020 is a year to either forget or something that we should leave to be desired. Because personally, I think 2020 gave me an opportunity to write, to do more things. At least a few things that I might have not done before. Even more opportunities at cooking. And yet, of course, there's the face masks. Yesterday, I went to Barnes & Noble's to walk off some lunch. And yet, I felt like my CO2 levels were rising because it was hard for me to think with a mask on, or at least to find some book that I liked. I'm telling you, I know I have to be on the safe side, but masks suck. I would prefer face shields. That way your CO2 levels won't rise. Anyway, 2020 also gave me an opportunity to diet on foods that are healthy. Even a couple of other things. And I've had a sad withdrawal from candy because I like candy and I like to experiment on different sweets, among other things. At least I've got hot chocolate, ice cream bars, like mint ice cream bars, and I've even got a rise in money. Well, and I've done some other hobbies, ripping assets, editing videos. I'm even trying to experiment with Avid Media Composer. But anyway, I don't have anything else to say. If you've got any other questions about 2020 in review, feel free to leave in the comment section. Anyway, there is one other thing, rioting. I feel that society has crumbled because of the coronavirus at a seemingly small rate, or maybe even a larger rate. You've got police riots, a resurgence in Black Lives Matter, corruption in the police force, and everyone is seeing a high increase in unemployment, while the higher ups are just acting like goddamn slobs. And those slobs are looking down upon us, jeering us, mocking us, making us think we're retards. But I'm sure some of them have hearts, and they're willing to save their money for a greater cause, like finding a vaccine. Oh, the election, well, I'm a Trump supporter, and so's my dad, and I do admit I'm gonna miss him, but it will be nice seeing Joe Biden in office. What do you say? You think he'll be a better president than Donald Trump will? Feel free to comment. Any other questions? Don't think so. Well, what question do you have, Anesh? Any other questions? Nothing? Well then. Nothing it is then. Personal note, I've looked at Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, and that already some people are already thinking that it's a little left to be desired, especially with how Kairi is being handled. Personally, if I wrote Kingdom Hearts, I would have made Kairi a total badass. I would have Sora be more three-dimensional, with angst all the way, instead of being just a stupid, retarded, optimistic, absent-minded, optimistic retard. And maybe I would give Riku a little bit of humor. Also, I would have tons of more scenes focusing on the villains, even if it's just for the sake of mystery aspects. Besides, I love the heroes. I love the villains more than the heroes. Their characterizations, especially in Kingdom Hearts, are far more interesting than the heroes, because they're smarter, they're fancily dressed. There are some who still think he deserves a harsher punishment. Anyway, if you've got any other thoughts about 2020, whether it be in movies, speaking of movies, I've just seen a few re-releases, but not a lot. Like Akira, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Be sure to give me a few other thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you and goodbye. This is Jake Rutigliano signing off. Au revoir.